Wake up, you sleepy head. Put on some clothes, shake up your bed. Put another log on the fire for me. I made some breakfast and coffee. Look out my window, what do I see? A crack in the sky and a hand reaching down to me. All the nightmares came today, and it looks as though they're here to stay. What are we coming to? No room for me, no fun for you. I think about a world to come, where the books were found by the golden ones, written in pain, written in all by a puzzled man who questioned what we were here for. All the strangers came today, and it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, you pretty things, don't you know you're driving your drivers insane? Oh, you pretty things, don't you know you're driving your drivers insane? Let me make it plain, gotta make way for the whole superior. Look out at your children, see their faces in golden rays. Don't kid yourself, they belong.
The Canny Cyclist set off in time for the 9-mile journey to the railway station, ready to catch his 6:20 a.m. train to Carlisle. But the first problem of the day arose as the train had been canceled, and the next train was due at 7:03 a.m., so he would now miss his connection to Settle and have to wait 2.5 hours in Carlisle station. His first plan was to stop and have breakfast in Settle, but now he would have to find breakfast in Carlisle station and then start the ride on arrival in Settle. On the journey to Settle, the train traveled over the Ribble's Head Viaduct, which was opened in the year 1875, and the Canny Cyclist would detour his ride to Dent via the viaduct. As the Canny Cyclist was now delayed a couple of hours, he would head directly onto the route to Dent. He had to arrive no later than 6 p.m., as his evening meal was booked for 6:30. Unfortunately, just 1 minute from the center of Settle, the Canny Cyclist would crash his bike. In the accident, the Canny Cyclist suffered cuts to his elbow and knee, and also have a very large bruise on his thigh that would grow during the next few days.
Take to the highway, won't you lend me your name?
The Canny Cyclist carried on through some nice quiet lanes to the village of Clapham, which intersects with the Way of the Roses cycle route.
Mama don't understand it. She wants to know where I've been. I'd have to be some kind of natural born fool to wanna pass that way again. But you know I could feel it on a country road. Sail on home to Jesus, won't you, good girls and boys? I'm all in pieces, you can have your own choice. But I can hear a heavenly band full of angels, and they're coming to set me free. I don't know nothing about the wild wind, but I can tell you that it's bound to be.
Then after his first 14% climb out of Clapham, there was a long downward stretch to the village of Ingleton, where the Canny Cyclist would deviate from the route and head off on the 7-mile return journey to the Ribble's Head Viaduct, which he previously had traveled over on the train.
Take to the highway, won't you lend me your name? Your way, my way, there seem to be one and the same child. Mama don't understand it, she wants to know where I've been. I have to be some kind of natural born fool, I wanna pass that way again. But I could feel it, Lord, on a country road.
On reaching within sight of the viaduct, the Canny Cyclist was now watching the clock as he needed to be at his accommodation in Dent by 6:30 p.m. and the clock was ticking, so he headed off back to Ingleton to rejoin the route. For the return ride back to Ingleton, the Canny Cyclist found a traffic-free lane adjacent to the main road and then stopped off at his first and definitely not his last co-op store on the journey.
Rust-red ground, no wheels to roll. A man with a map says the road stole my soul. Sun like a hammer, sky burning white. I'm out here walking half the night.
This is the view about halfway up the climb out of Ingleton. The Canny Cyclist by now was feeling the effects of the earlier crash and struggling up the rest of the climb.
I don't think it'll get me very far out in Death Valley.
Then followed the descent into Kingsdale Valley, which the Canny Cyclist would later rename Death Valley. Next, there was a climb up the viewpoint showing Deepdale Valley and the steepest descent down into the valley.
It's quiet out here, so just take my hand. Buzzards are circling, but we still breathe. The wind says stay, but my heart says leave. I got a bottle of whiskey in the back of my car, but I don't think it'll get me very far out in Death Valley. Out in Death Valley. Ain't no sign just survive. I got a bottle of whiskey in the back of my car, but I don't think it'll get me very far out in Death Valley, out in Death Valley.
And the endpoint to today's ride, the George and Dragon pub, where the Canny Cyclist would arrive at 6 p.m. just in time for his evening meal, booked for 6:30. A gammon steak, egg and chips, and a very welcome pint of Wainwright's, bitter to cap off the 44 miles cycled on day one of this ride. After a decent night's sleep, the Canny Cyclist felt he could continue with the ride, even though his injuries were a problem. The first leg of this ride to Alston would be the town of Sedberg before the halfway point in Appleby and Westmoreland. After riding through the town of Sedberg, another climb was to take the Canny Cyclist on another traffic-free road, running alongside the M6 motorway, where there seemed to be bumper-to-bumper traffic at the time. After the Shap summit, there was a ride through some moorland before the ride into the town of Appleby in Westmoreland, which was the halfway point in today's ride.
In the tiny town where I come from, you grew up doing what your daddy does, and you don't ask questions, you do it just because. you don't climb too high or dream too much. With a whole lot of work and a little bit of luck, you can wind up right back where your daddy was. This little bitty town, it ain't nothing new. We all stick around.
This small town is famous for its travelers' horse fair. Luckily, not today.
Swallow your pride, just to make your family proud. If I didn't think that it would shut the whole place down, I'd ride my pony right out of this one-horse town. Yeah, this one-horse town. I'm an old married man at the age of 23. Got two little boys on the baseball team, and that might be their only ticket out.
A nice lunch was had at the Appleby Hub Cafe.
All they got is a worn-out name and a daddy that could have gone all the way. But I hung my saddle up and I settled down. This little bitty town, oh, it ain't nothing new.
From the town of Appleby and enjoying the current sunshine, the ride now starts at ascent through the foothills before the long ride up towards the Hartside summit. But the Canny Cyclist was still in good spirits, if not in now tired legs.
If I didn't think that it would shut the whole place down,
It's good to see, even in this very secluded village, a young tune fan practicing his skills.
One-horse town. Yeah, this one-horse town. Oh, yeah. This little bitty town, oh yeah, it ain't nothing new. We all stick around.
Now the hard climb begins. Soon it will reach the main road up to the Hartside summit.
Swallow your pride, just to keep your family proud. If I didn't think that it would shut the whole thing down, I'd saddle that one horse and ride him right out of this town.
So the Canny Cyclist made it up to the Hartside summit, 1,903 feet above sea level. It had been the longest ride of the whole route.
I don't know how I held on, but I'm here. I don't know how I made it, but I made it. I don't know how I held on.
And now it's a long descent down into the town of Alston and his bed for the night.
It's as if I did a deal with an angel. Somewhere back along the line. It's as if I did a deal with an angel.
It's as if I did a deal with an angel.
Somewhere back along the line.
Somewhere back along the line.
It's as if I did a deal with an angel.
It's as if I did a deal with an angel.
Somewhere back along the line.
Somewhere back along the line.
Somewhere back along the line. I don't know how I made it, but I made it. as if I did a deal with an angel.
It's as if I did a deal with an angel.
I don't know how I made it, but I made it somewhere back along the line.
Somewhere back along the line. Somewhere back along the line.
After riding for 69 miles, still battered and bruised, the Canny Cyclist finally made it to his hotel, Alston House, and a very welcome meal and rest after a good, if very tiring, ride.
Let me take you on a sentimental journey. Let me take you on a sentimental journey.
So the start of day 3, and the Canny Cyclist will ride from Alston through Haltwhistle to Bellingham, and finally the small village of Elsdon. The first part of the journey, though, is a sentimental journey for the Canny Cyclist, as it will mainly be along the old Alston to Haltwhistle Railway, and will take in the Lambley Viaduct, which is located the old Lambley Station House, where the Canny Cyclist's dad was evacuated during the World War II.
Sentimental journey through your first summer love and all the songs that were around. Youth's carefree, reckless, and Mr. Blister, the day that it went
The Canny
wrong.
Cyclist now has his first sight of the Lambley Viaduct and will head off to ride across it.
Through the first time you cried, the first time you sang, to the first time you heard where your memory began. We've a high stretch to make, though we've traveled awful way, and a sentimental journey, meaning in your days. And let me take you, sentimental journey. Let me take you. Sentimental journey. So the next time you go driving in your body car, remember it's your body, it's your car. You exist after to exist before. Should fly emotions of the sea, tie you down or break you first. Take a sentimental journey, seek out your true feeling. I need to take you, 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 need to take you. Sentimental journey. So the next time you go driving in your body car, remember it's your body, it's your car. You exist after to exist before. Should blind emotions of this way, tie you down or break you first. Take a sentimental journey, seek out your true feeling. Need to take you, need to take you, need to take you, need to take you. Sentimental journey, need to take you, need to take you.
In the town of Haltwhistle, the Canny Cyclist will gather some food for lunch to be eaten in a perfect spot about one halfway through the ride. In the foreground, you can see the spot where the sycamore gap tree used to be. These alpacas have a great view.
Oh,
Lunchtime and a great spot to take in the Hadrian's Wall vibe, to imagine the life they had guarding Hadrian's Wall. The second part of the journey would take the Canny Cyclist through the wilderness of the Northumbrian countryside. When the long, straight, traffic-free roads came to an end, there was very rough gravel riding through Wark Forest. The road then led down to the town of Bellingham that can be seen in the valley, and the first signs of rain started. As there were no meals served at the pub at the end of today's journey, the Canny Cyclist had to buy some food again from another co-op store. Finally, at the end of day 3 in a distance cycled of 55 miles, the Canny Cyclist would literally crash out on his bed for the night at the Bird in the Bush pub in the village of Elsdon. So to the final day 4 of the ride, and the Canny Cyclist was on a mission. He had a train booked at 6:20 p.m. from Berwick back home, so the ride was against the clock. There was a steep climb out of Alston, but thankfully decent roads heading towards the Ingram Valley.
Paul and Silas thought they was lost. Dungeon shook and the chains come off. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Mom's name is mighty sweet, and soon we're gonna meet. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. I got my hand on the gospel plow, won't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Only chain that a man can stand is that chain a hand.
There was a bridge over the river Breamish with both a car and horse using the ford.
Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on.
30 miles into the ride, there was a marked-off road section that proved to be more of a challenge, hiker bike style.
Only thing I did was wrong, staying in the wilderness too long. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. One thing we did was right, was the day we started to fly. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, keep your eyes on the prize.
After this nightmare section, there was the pleasure of riding through a herd of cattle that was lucky didn't cause any problems. For lunch, the Canny Cyclist would stop off at the co-op in Woolwich. So far, his timing was good to catch his train.
Camaraderie, the old bikes, it is a brotherhood.
What you represent to them is freedom. What the hell's wrong with freedom, then? That's what it's all about. But talking about it and being it, it's two different things.
The next part of the ride would include castles, such as Ford Castle, Eagle Castle. The Canny Cyclist would then have a rest on a bench at Norham Castle and review his trip so far in the knowledge he could possibly arrive at the station around 5 p.m.
Am I wondering why I can't find the reason why you're searching for the feeling that you used to have? Are you looking through every mistake that I've made just to be the object of your blame? To make you feel whole again, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been holding my breath, falling from grace, taking my time. I don't know where I'm on my own without you. Am I running away from this place that I need? The help I need to be free, free from you. Can I ever move on, break these bonds we've created, admit that we've been faking all along? Yeah, yeah.
So the Canny Cyclist is now approaching Berwick Station around 5 p.m. He's on time, and his plan is to lock up the bike and head to the fish and chip shop for tea. He looks to pull out his mobile and take a photo of his arrival with his bike. But wait, his mobile is missing. Where could it be? Panicking, he thinks back. He stopped at the bench at Norham Castle and checked his mobile. Maybe he dropped it there? He asks a taxi driver to drive him to the bench to look for the missing phone.
Strange voice on the telephone, telling me I better leave it alone.
After a search, there is no mobile. Wait, he remembers taking a photo of the statue at the bridge. The taxi drives there, and after a search, no mobile. On the brink now of giving up, the Canny Cyclist finally remembers about 2 miles further on he stopped for a toilet break. The taxi slowly drives near the site, and the Canny Cyclist rings his mobile from his company mobile. Success, he hears the ring, and finds the mobile in the long grass. What a relief. The taxi returns to the station at 6 p.m., just in time for the train at 6:20, and the taxi fare comes to a cost of £65. The Canny Cyclist catches his train and within an hour will arrive in Newcastle Station, where quite rightly he decides to request a ride home rather than cycle the extra 9 miles. So the Canny Cyclist has covered over 230 miles along the Pennine Way North cycle ride, and he looks forward to his next Canny ride.